Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this video we are going to create a quiz game. This is going to use our if-else statements that we've been learning this week, and it's going to make extensive use of a bunch of other concepts that we've learned so far. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to get my backdrops set up. Let's go to my backdrops, and let's grab a backdrop here. I like the light backdrop for this opening. Let's get rid of this Scratch the Cat sprite. We won't need him. And for my opening, for this backdrop, I actually want to put some text on there. Let's grab the text tool and we'll say quiz game. And let's make it, I don't know, maybe a blue. Blue would look good here. Maybe a darker blue, maybe. Let's change the font. Yeah, I like marker. Let's make it nice and big. Quiz game. Okay. And that's a nice blue. I like that blue a lot. Okay. So that's going to be our, let's call this open. Yeah, let's call it open. And we can get rid of this backdrop here. Let's duplicate open. Actually, yeah, let's duplicate open. And we'll make a close. This will be a, let's say, you got and then let's put another text in there. Oh, hello. Questions right. All right. Let's grab this, make this nice and big. And in here, I'm actually going to say game over. Let's make it a bit smaller. All right, and then in the middle here, we will have the amount of questions they got right, but we'll do that in our actual program. So again, we'll name this end or close. Let's call it close. All right, let's see. What else do we need? We need a backdrop for the actual quiz show. We'll make it blue sky. We'll call that game. That looks pretty good. All right, so our backdrops are set up. Now we need to get our sprites in there. So the first sprite I'm going to use is this button. Put the button there. Let's increase the size. Make it nice and big. And then in the costumes, we'll add some text to it. Play. And let's change that to white. And we'll make it much bigger. Okay. That looks about right. Okay. All right. So this play button, maybe I'll make it a little smaller. Let's do 150. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, this play button, all it does is it exists just to get clicked on. So whenever it gets clicked, we're going to set up all of the starting stuff for our game, and we're going to move to the next backdrop. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So what we want to do, though, is on this button, let's grab our green flag event. And we want, when we click the green flag, we want to change the backdrop to open. And we want to show this button. The other thing we want to do is we want to reset our score variable. Now we're going to talk extensively about variables in another video. This game only has one variable, so we're not really going to worry about variables too much. But if we click on this orange section here and go to make a variable, we're going to call this score. We're going to keep it for all sprites and click OK. Now notice that it brings our score up here. We actually don't want that. Let's uncheck that so that we don't see the score on the game. But here what we can do is we can set score to 0 when we click the green flag. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, now we want this button, when we click on it, we want it to actually do something. So when this sprite is clicked, let's switch our backdrop to game, and let's hide the button. Okay, so now let's go ahead and, so now we played the game. Let's click on play. It takes us to backdrop and it hides our button. All right, so far everything's working properly. It's working exactly the way we want. Now we have to program our first question. So let's bring up the game backdrop. Let's hide our sprite here. And let's start thinking about what we want to do. For me, I'm going to ask 3 questions about Marvel movies. I really love Marvel movies, so I've already downloaded some sprites that I want to use. So I'm going to go to Upload Sprite. I'm going to use this Spider-Man sprite first, and I will change it to Spider-Man. Okay, I'll move him in a place where he's not, where there's some room above him. Okay. Now, first of all, when we click the green flag, I want Spider-Man to be hidden. I don't want him to be here from the very beginning of the game. He's only going to show up when we're asking the first question. So when the green flag is clicked, I want to hide Spider-Man. Okay. Now, I want him to pop up when the backdrop changes to question 1. So that's another event that we can use. So when backdrop switches to game, then I want to show him. So let's go show so that he pops up. Let's try that. So click the green flag, quiz game here, click play, Spider-Man shows up. So far, so good. Now I want Spider-Man to actually ask the question. So for that, we're going to go to sensing. Sensing is this light blue bubble here, and it holds all of the options for checking to see if something is happening in your game. For us, we're going to use this ask to ask the actual question that we want the player to answer. So I'm going to say, which actor has played Spider-Man in the most films? Okay, so I'm asking a question. Which actor has played Spider-Man in the most films? Now, this is where we get into our if-else. So, I want to use an if-else block to check to see if they've answered correctly. So I'm going to click that here. So let's talk about the logic here. If their answer equals Tom Holland, because Tom Holland has played Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War, his 3 Spider-Man movies, plus Infinity War and Endgame. That's 6 Spider-Man films. Or that's 6 films altogether versus 4 for Tobey Maguire and 3 for Andrew Garfield. And if the math isn't making sense to you, hopefully I'm not spoiling anything for you. Anyway, so Tom Holland has played Spider-Man in the most films. So if the answer equals Tom Holland, so for that I need an operator, right? And I'm going to use this equals operator. Notice that it has the little pointy edge here, has that little pointy edge. That pointy edge means that it slots right into this diamond-shaped slot, okay? So if something equals 50, well, we don't want it to equal 50. We want it to equal Tom Holland, okay? And what we're looking for is this companion bubble that comes with ask, which is answer. So whatever they type gets put into this answer bubble here. So if answer equals Tom Holland, then we're going to have Spider-Man say, awesome. You got it right. And then we're going to increase their score. So we'll change score by 1. And they have answered that question correctly. So that's if answer equals Tom Holland. Else, meaning if anything else has been answered, then we need to tell them, yeah, sorry, that's not correct. Sorry. That's not the correct answer. All right, but we are not going to increase their score by 1, obviously, because they didn't get the right answer. All right. Now, at this point, we're done with the question. So we can broadcast a signal basically saying, hey, I'm done with this question. So let's broadcast and let's call it, I don't know, let's call it Q2. Oh, Q2 for question 2. Okay, now we also need Spider-Man to hide. So let's say when I receive Q2, then I'm going to hide. All right. We also could have put hide down here, but, you know, I think it's cleaner just to have it separate here. Okay. So let's see if that worked. Click the green flag. Let's play. Which actor has played Spider-Man in the most films? I'm going to say Gary Coleman. Sorry, that is not the correct answer. All right. Let's try again. Tom Holland. Awesome, you got it right. So it works if I get it wrong. It works if I get it right. Beautiful. Okay. Now we just need to repeat the same process for the other 3 or the other 2 questions. So I'm going to bring in Thanos here. Thanos. And I'm going to rush through these a little bit more just because you've already seen me do it once. And so I'll talk through it just a bit, but not too much. All right, so let's see. When the green flag is clicked, we want to hide Mr. Thanos because he only is going to show up on the second question. Let's do when I receive question 2, then we're going to show Thanos. All right, then we'll ask our question, ask, and this question will be, what color Infinity Stone controls time? All right. And then we'll go back into our if-else. If green, so if the answer equals green, then we'll say, how did you know? And then we will change the variable score by 1. I'm going to double check to make sure I changed score. I did. Okay. Sorry, excuse me. If they get it wrong, we'll say, ha ha ha, fool. For 2 seconds. All right. And then let's broadcast a new event. We'll say broadcast question 3. Q3. Okay. And then when I receive Q3, then I will hide. Okay. All right. So we've handled that question. Now it's time for my third and final question. Let's upload my Iron Man sprite. Let's go ahead and hide Mr. Thanos. All right. Now Iron Man's a bit small. Let's make him a bit bigger. Okay, looks good. Alrighty. So Iron Man, same thing. Green flag. Let's hide him. And events, when I receive Q3, let's show. Then we're going to ask Let's see. In what year did my first movie come out? All right, then we have our if-else statement. If we want our thing here, let's go if answer equals 2008, because the first Iron Man movie came out in 2008. I'm pretty sure some of you weren't even born then. All right, then we'll go. Oh, I see you're a fan. And let's increase the variable, so change score by 1. And then if they get it wrong, we'll say, you have a horrible taste in movies. Okay, and then we will we will broadcast. Let's say, oh, you know what? Actually, let's not broadcast this one. For this one, we can just swap to the next backdrop because that's the next thing we're doing. So let's do switch backdrop to close. And then also in the events here, control, we can say when backdrop switches to close, then we hide Iron Man. Hide. Okay, now let's go to our close backdrop. And let's hide. Oh, I forgot to name Iron Man. Let's name him. Ooh. Iron Man. All right, let's hide him. All right, so now we need to put our numbers on here. We need to get our numbers up here. So there are 4 possible scores that we could have for this game. 0, meaning they didn't score anything correct. 1, 2, or 3, meaning they got all of the answers correct. So we need to bring in 4 new sprites. I'm just going to use the number sprites that that Scratch gives us, which, the only ones are these glowy ones. Okay. I guess those are the ones we'll use. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hide 1, 2, and 3 for now. I'm going to go to 0. Let's put 0 at 0 on the X and 0 on the Y. Okay. Let's actually put it just a little bit down. So let's do 0 on the X, -20 on the Y. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to have the other numbers be in the exact same spot. So I'm just trying to help myself to remember that it's going to be at -20. So with these, we want them to hide when we click the green flag. And then what we want to do is whenever we switch to this backdrop, so the close backdrop, if our score, so let's go to our if. Now for this, we only need one single if statement. We don't need the else. And basically we want to say if score is equal to 0, then we want to show. And that's it. That's pretty much all of the code we need for that. Now we just do the other 3 numbers. So let's show him. He's going to be at 0 on the X, -20 on the Y. We will green flag looks hide when backdrop switches to close if the score equals 1, then we will show. Okay. Same thing for 2. 0 on the X, negative 20 on the y. All right. We're getting there. Hide. When the backdrop switches to close. If score is equal to 2, then we will show. All right, last one. 0 on the x, negative 20 on the y. Okay, events, green flag, backdrop switch, looks. We want to show, we want to hide. If we want an operator, let's put the show in there. And we want the score variable, 3. Oh, that's when close. Okay, so at this point, everything should be working properly. Let's play the game and see if it works. So, quiz game, play. Fart McGee. Sorry, that's not the correct answer. Okay. What color infinity stone controls time? Fuchsia. Ha ha ha, fool. In what year did my first movie come out? 1994. You have horrible taste in movies. Game over, you got 0 questions right. Okay. Now let's grab a couple. Let's do Tom Holland. Let's do Thanos has a big butt. Let's do 2008. And so I got 2 questions right. Right? And so fart, green, and I don't know, the year 26. So I only got 1 questions right. So that is how our quiz game is going to work. It's really that simple. Now, I only made 3 questions. You can make as many as you want. And they can be, your quiz can be about anything you want. Hopefully you already know what your questions are going to be. If you don't want to do this elaborate, system where the numbers show up at the end, it's easy to pull off. Just make it look nice. You can recolor these by going into their costumes and then painting in the air or using the paint bucket to recolor them and make them look nicer. But, this is going to be a fun project. Make sure your questions are school appropriate, obviously. And I will see you next time. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Bye.